G'day guys, I finally made my very own Adirondack chair. So grab yourself a nice cold drink, sit back, relax and enjoy the video. Okay, so on a piece of 5mm MDF board, I'll begin by designing my main leg first. Here I'm using inch by inch squares as my reference point, improvising as I go along. With a thin strip, I'll now create a curve both at the front and middle on the main seat frame. Okay, now to begin the armrest. Never let a good cup of coffee go to waste, I say. A quick clean of the edges with some sandpaper and the two profiles are complete. I've managed to find some rough sawn off cuts in the back of the shed. Righto, with the Oregon now dressed to almost an inch in thickness, I can now begin to mark out the profiles. I align the two boards to mark out the armrest. They will both be laminated together using pocket hole screws. Pocket screws ready, but I need to do the glue up first. I'm cutting on the waist side of the line. I will then clean up the edges by using my template and trim router. The glue has certainly bonded that well. I place the seat frame flush to the edge of the table on the top left of screen. I then line up the front frame to sit flush on the corner table. I measure in 100 millimeters. This is where the front upright leg will be positioned at approximately 75 degrees. The length of the two front uprights is 570 millimeters. I used pocket hole screws to fix two pieces together, and I'm very happy with the result. Here I've marked the positioning for the lower brace between the two front legs. I will drill two countersink holes on the allocated marks. Desperate for more stock and with very little options, I had to make do with this crappy F17 hardwood block. So I begin to rip down 12 pieces at 30 by 45 mil. I'll use these pieces as my seat slats. With my modified jig, I'll add a chamfer to the upper sides of my slats. I'll also add a chamfer to the ends as well. The lower back frame, again 500 millimeters in length. Okay, I'll add the very first seat slat, followed by a rear brace, and now attach the lower back frame. I use an 8mm strip to space all the seat slats. Okay, it's time to fit the main seat frame in between the two upright legs. A little tap here and a little tap there, and we have a winner. I will now cut the two back upright legs. The upper back frame. I simply fold a sanding disc in half to create my curve. With my 10mm Forstner drill bit, I will drill 2 holes in both the front upright legs and the rear uprights. Tap in the carriage bolts. Check for square. Add washer and nut. And away we go. So I've got this unsightly edge that I need to remove. I carefully ripped it on the table saw. That looks way better. And just a little bit of artwork here to camouflage the pocket hole plugs. So I've clamped both armrests in place. I now want to position the 7 back slats. And as you can see, I'll need to remove more material along both of the inside arms to fit slat number 1 and 7. With the excess material removed, all is looking good. I'll now cut a taper on each end of the back slats. I've put double-sided masking tape on both the upper and lower back frame. You'll also notice I've clamped an offcut on the underside of the lower back frame. It'll allow me to easily sit the 7 back slats in position. I measure 355mm down the middle slat, and with a string tied along a pencil I will mark a curve. I've removed the double-sided masking tape, and I will now screw the lower back slats in place. Here I've clamped a flexible piece of MDF along the centre of the upper back frame. I'll now mark a line to establish a centre point. With the pre-drilled holes, the back slats can be firmly screwed in position. This unusual member has a slight curve. It's neatly tucked parallel along the bottom back slats, like so. I cut a scrap piece equal in length to the front leg, then simply trace and mark the rear upright leg. Square a line across, then mark the top of the armrest. I measure, then mark a centre point along the back of the armrest, then carefully drill through with a 10mm drill bit. I replace the armrest back on the rear upright leg, align it with the existing pencil lines, then drill all the way through. By adding a carriage bolt to both rear armrests, I can rest assured knowing the bolt will provide greater holding strength than screws. Before I get too far ahead of myself, I need to fix an arm brace on the upper front legs. Here I've marked and created 3 pilot holes, which will be countersunk, leaving the armrest to be screwed in position. An additional feature for the chair will be a cup holder. Wouldn't life be so much easier if I had a hole saw set? If you guys are enjoying this video, I need you all to do me one big favour. Please leave a comment, good or bad, as it greatly affects the algorithm. Thanks in advance, guys. I was 50-50 on whether to leave the chair raw or to stain it with oil, and as you can see, I chose the latter. On the rear of the frame, I've added a cross member, which will act as the solid brace. The rear upright legs will hide the pocket hole screws when sitting flush with one another. Well, after all that hard work and effort, I need a rest. Jeez. Have a ripper of a day, guys.